Welcome everyone to the complete course of Security Engineering. So Security Engineering course consists of 12 modules. In the first module, we are going to discuss about complete introduction to security engineering. In the second module, we are going to discuss about governance and regulations followed by the organization. In the third module, we are going to discuss about security principles followed by the organization. So in the fourth module, we are going to discuss about the basic terms and methodologies followed by the hackers. So in the fifth module, we are going to discuss about security operational center, and also we are going to discuss about incident response and incident management. So in the sixth module, we are going to discuss about cyber defense frameworks like military attack, military defense and military engage. And also we are going to discuss about other frameworks. In the seventh module, we are going to discuss about threat intelligence tools. So we are going to discuss about what are all the tools, what are all the websites that can be used for the security engineers. So in the eighth module, we are going to discuss about the fundamentals of Linux, Windows and network. So we are going to discuss about the concepts involved in Windows, Linux and networks. So in the ninth module, we are going to discuss about the network security and traffic analysis. So we are going to discuss about the concepts involved in network security and the network traffic analysis. So and also we are going to discuss about the tools involved in network security and network analysis. So in the 10th module, we are going to discuss about endpoint security monitoring. So we are going to discuss about what are all the tools involved in endpoint security monitoring. So for the tool, we are going to use WAZUH for our endpoint security monitoring. In the 11th module, we are going to discuss about security information and event management. We are going to discuss about the important concepts involved in SIEM like log collection and log injection. And also we are going to discuss about Splunk tool for our SIEM. So in the final module, we are going to discuss about malware analysis. So we are going to analyze our malware based on the two concepts, static analysis and then dynamic analysis. So this course is very important for the college students who are trying to get jobs in cyber security and also security engineering. So let's get started. Welcome everyone to the first class. In today's class, we are going to discuss about the complete introduction to security engineer course. So what do you mean by security engineer? So you can find the meaning from the word itself, security engineer. We are going to provide security to our organization. So the second question will be, what kind of security we are going to provide for our organization? So every company depends on their data. Without the data, there is no organization. So the data contains all the information about the organization, infrastructure and their services. And also it contains the details of their customers. The most important customer detail is credentials. So the credentials like the username and the password. If those data are hacked by the hackers, then the organization will suffer a great loss. So that's why organization uses security engineer to protect their data. So that's the complete introduction to security engineer. So security engineer is nothing but we are going to provide security to the organization data. So by the way, I am Arnachalam from India. I am going to teach security engineer course, both theoretical and practical concepts for you. So let's see you in the next class. Welcome everyone to the second class. In today's class, we are going to discuss about the role of security engineer. So the main role of security engineer is nothing but we are going to protect the organization data. So we are the main person responsible for protecting our organization data. And then second one is nothing but we are going to protect our organization from cyber attacks. And also we are going to minimize the impacts of the cyber attacks. And then third one is nothing but we are going to conduct tests for finding what are all the weak points present in our organization. By finding the weak points, we can minimize the cyber attacks. And then fourth important role of security engineering is nothing but we are going to secure our network. We are going to find what are all the source we are going to allow in our network. And then last most important role of security is nothing but we are going to collaborate and coordinate with our cyber security team professionals, because we need to know about our organization infrastructure and then their services. By doing that, we can minimize the cyber attacks. So these are all the main roles of security engineer. So the most important role is nothing but we are going to protect our data from the cyber attacks. Welcome everyone to the fourth class. In today's class, we are going to discuss about qualification required for security engineer. So if you want to become a security engineer, you need to have these qualifications. So the first one is nothing but you need to have 0 to 2 years of experience with the IT administration, help desk, networks or security operations. So if you have these experiences, you will survive in the security engineering. And then second one is nothing but you need to have the basic understanding of computer networks. You need to know about the OSI layer model, and then you need to know about the importance of IPv4, IPv6, MAC address. So these are all the concepts you need to know. And then operating systems. You need to know about the basic fundamentals of Linux, Mac and Windows. And then the last one will be programming. So you need to have the basic programming knowledge of Python. So these are all the concepts you need to know. And then third one is nothing but you need to know about the rules and regulations followed by the organization. So there are a lot of rules and regulations created by the organization like PCI DSS and then GDPR, HIPAA. So these are all the rules and regulations you need to know. We are going to discuss these in the upcoming classes. So these are all the qualifications required for the security engineer. So the first one is the IT administration, and then second one is nothing but the computer networks, and then third one is nothing but you need to know about the rules and regulations. So in the next class, we are going to discuss about the rules and regulations of this organization. So let's see you in the next class. Welcome everyone to the third class. In today's class, we are going to discuss about the importance of security engineering. So the first importance is nothing but we are going to mitigate the risk. We are going to mitigate the impact of the cyber attacks from the hackers. And then second importance is nothing but we are going to protect our data from the cyber hackers. So the most important detail is the credentials of the users. So the credentials like the username and then password. If the hackers find those data, our client data will be breached. So ensure compliance is nothing but we are going to protect our organization, and also we are going to identify so whether the organization follows the policies or not. And then fourth important one is maintaining the trust. So without a trust, there is no organization, because client must trust their organization. If the client does not trust their organization, we cannot run our organization. So we need trust from our client. So these are all the importance of security engineering. So in the next class, we are going to discuss about what are all the concepts in security engineering. So welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about the governance and regulations. So before you understand about the governance and regulations, you need to know about the important terminologies used in those governance and regulations. So the first important terminology is nothing but governance. We are going to manage our organization for achieving their goals by rules and regulations. If you follow those rules and regulations, we can achieve the organization goals. So that's the meaning for governance. And then second one is regulation. Regulation is nothing but a rule to be followed by the employees governed by their organization. So the rules must be followed by the employees for working in their organization. So that's the regulation. And then compliance. Compliance is nothing but the employees accept the rules and regulations of the organization. So that's the meaning of compliance. We are accepting the rules and regulations. So the policies are nothing but the organization goals, principles, guidelines. So these are all the policies. And then we are going to discuss about standards. For example, every programming language have their own syntax. By following that syntax, we can run our program. So the standards is also same like syntax. we are going to follow some syntax which requires specific requirements and specification for a particular process, product or service. So by following the standards, we can achieve our goal. So guidelines is like a manual. So manual contains all the details you need to follow for your organization. So that's the use of guidelines. And then procedures. Procedure is nothing but step-by-step process. For example, if you develop an app, you need to have some procedures like building the app, testing the app, and deploying the app. So these are like the procedures. And then baselines. Baselines are nothing but these are all the traditional methods we have been followed for every organization. So the traditional methods are like baselines. So baseline is nothing but organization must follow these rules. So these are all the important terminologies in governance and regulations. In the upcoming class, we are going to discuss about what are all the rules and regulations followed by the organization. Welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about one of the rules and regulations followed by the European Union countries. So the full form of GDPR is nothing but General Data Protection Regulation. So we are going to protect our data. So that's the meaning for GDPR. So there are many regulations in GDPR. So like lawful processing and limitation of purpose, data and storage, consent, privacy by design, data transfer, awareness and training, data protection officer, data protection impact assessment, personal data breaches, data subject rights. So these are all the regulations followed in GDPR. So for example, data transfer. If you are going to transfer any data, you need to have more security for those data transfer, like encrypting those data transfer. So and then privacy by design. You need to have more abstraction for your design. And then awareness and training. Awareness and training is nothing but we need to provide awareness and training for the employees in the organization, because employees don't know about the cyber attacks nowadays. By doing the awareness program, we can provide the training for those employees. And then data protection officer. We need to allocate any one of the officer for data protections. Like we need to assign security engineer for data protection. And then data subject rights, personal data breaches. So the most important data is nothing but the credentials of users, password, and then usernames and their email and then phone number. We need to protect those data by leaking to the hackers. And then consent. Consent is nothing but you need to get permissions from those higher individuals. So these are all the important terms followed in GDPR. Welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about the one of the governance and regulations followed in India. For India, you need to follow DPDPA. For every organization in running in India, you need to follow this rule. So the rule is nothing but Digital Personal Data Protection Act. So there are some of the examples of business that need to follow DPDPA. So the examples like e-commerce companies and then social media platforms, financial institutions, healthcare companies, and then technology companies. So whatever organization collects the user information, they need to follow this rule in India. After that only you can run your organization. If you don't follow these rules and regulations, your organization will be terminated. So the most important business is nothing but the financial institution. So the financial institution must follow DPDPA because they contains the most credential details of the users, like their credit card details or debit card details or their bank account details or PAN details or Aadhaar details. They need to follow these rules. So in India, you need to follow DPDPA Act. Welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about one of the governance and regulation that is nothing but PCI-DSS. So the full form of PCI-DSS is nothing but Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard. So it is mostly for the payment card organizations like card-based transactions. if your company is financial institutions, they need to follow some card-based transactions. For those organizations, you need to follow PCI-DSS. So it requires strict control access to the cardholder information and monitoring unauthorized access using recommended measures such as web application firewalls and encryption. If you are a financial institution, you need to have web application firewall. By using the web application firewall, you can protect those data from the cyber attacks like man-in-the-middle attack. And also you need to have more security features like encryption of your data transfer. So these web application firewalls and encryptions must be followed by the organization, especially in card-based transactions. So for the card-based transaction organizations, you need to follow payment card industry data security standard. Welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about NIST 853. The full form of NIST is nothing but National Institute of Standards and Technology. So the NIST contains all kinds of standards and technologies for the organization like administrative control, technical control, physical control and strategical control. For the administration control, you need to have the guidelines like audit and accountability, awareness and training, configuration management, contingency planning, incident response, maintenance, program management, risk assessment, security assessment and authorization. So these are all the important terminologies must be followed in administrative control. For the technical control, you need to have the rules like access control, identification and authentication, system and communication protection, system and information integrity, system and service acquisition, and then system and services development, program system and services development. So integrity is nothing but the value must not be changed. And then physical controls. So the physical controls like personal security, physical and environmental protection, media protection. So the media like video, audio and other media controls. And then strategical controls like planning. We need to have planning for the cyber attacks. So these are all the controls available in the NIST 853. So it is one of the fundamental governance and regulations followed by every organization. Welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about the security principles followed by every organization. So the most important security rule followed by every organization is CIA. So the full form of CIA is nothing but confidentiality, integrity and availability. So the first confidentiality is nothing but we need to protect the private details of everyone. So everyone is nothing but the users and also the employee details. So these are all the important private information in the organization we need to protect. And then second one is integrity. Integrity is nothing but value must not be changed. If your data is transferred from one place to another, the value must not be changed from one place to another. So that's the concept of integrity. Integrity is nothing but value must not be changed. So the third one is availability. Availability is nothing but organization service must be available to everyone. So the CIA model is nothing but the first one is we need to protect the private details of the employees and then clients. And then second one is the integrity. The value must not be changed. And then third one is availability. Availability is nothing but every services must be available for your customer. Welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about the second most important security principle. So the second principle is nothing but zero trust, always verify. You need to verify every sources of your organization. Even though if you trust those sources, you need to verify that. So the rule for zero trust and always verify is nothing but first one is don't trust. And then second one is verify. And then third one is nothing but follow 1 and 2 every time. So you need to verify every sources every time. Even though you have more trust on those sources, you need to verify every time. So you need to verify the users, even though the user is your public relations or your own employee in the organization, you need to verify that. And then devices, even though the devices present in your organization are trustable, you need to verify that. And then network traffic, you need to verify the source IP and also your destination IP also. And then applications, you need to verify your applications. And then data, you need to verify every data, because data integrity is very important. So you need to verify these sources. So the users, devices, network traffic, applications and data. So you need to follow these rules. First one is don't trust, and then second one is verify, and then third one is nothing but you need to follow these two rules in the upper side. So that's it guys. In today's class we are discussed about second most important security principle, that is zero trust, always verify. Welcome everyone to the fourth module. In today's class we are going to discuss about what are all the basic terms and methodologies must be known for the security engineers. So the first most important term is nothing but threat. Threat can be both intentional and accidental event that can compromise your security of your information system. So the threat is nothing but hacker hacks your computer, that is the threat. So examples like hacking, phishing attacks, human error and natural disasters like tsunami, earthquake. So these are all the natural disaster, but intentional one is nothing but hacking and phishing. So the hacker hacks your computer is a threat. So vulnerability is nothing but weak points in your organization. For example, if the computer does not have the antivirus, so the computer becomes a vulnerable one. Then the hackers can easily hack your computer. If the computer install the antivirus, then it might reduce the impact of the cyber attack. So that's the weak point of your computer. If your computer does not have the antivirus, it is a vulnerable. So the assets can be both software and hardware. Software like your company applications and then services. Hardware like your company servers, switch, routers and other hardwares present in your organization. Risk is nothing but if your computer may or may not be hacked by the hacker. So that's the risk. So the risk is nothing but probability of threat source exploiting the existing vulnerability and resulting in adverse business efforts. So it is nothing but when the hacker can hack your computer or may not hack your computer. So that's the risk, probability. And then risk management is nothing but we need to defend our computer from the hackers. So we need to find what are all the vulnerabilities present in our computer. So these are all the basic terms you need to know for the security engineers. So after that you need to know about the hacker methodology. So by understanding the hacker methodology, we can reduce the impact of the hacker attacks. So for the basic hacker methodology, we need to know about the unified kill chain. It is one of the methodology used by the hackers. So the first methodology used by the hacker is information gathering. So the hacker gathers the information of the organization like the CEO details or their employee details or their organization details. So the first one is the information gathering. And then weaponization. By gathering the information, hackers can prepare their attacks. So that's the weaponization. So delivery is nothing but hacker hacks your computer by uploading any payload or any other malwares. And then fourth one is nothing but social engineering. Social engineering is nothing but phishing email. So the manipulation of people to gather their information. Exploitation is nothing but if the hackers finds any vulnerability in your computer, like if the computer does not have the antivirus, then the hacker can easily hack your computer. So that's the exploitation. Exploitation is nothing but finding the vulnerability and exploiting the vulnerability. Persistence is nothing but hacker can stay in your computer for every year or every month whenever he want to hack your computer. So that's the persistence. Defense evasion is nothing but hacker bypasses the antivirus. So the antivirus allows the hackers to hack your computer. Command and control is nothing but hacker types any command and then control your system. So that's the command and control. And the ninth one is nothing but pivoting. Pivoting is nothing but if the hacker attacks the admin account, then he can easily attack the user accounts. So that's the pivoting. And then discovery. Discovery is nothing but if the hacker hacks into your computer and then he discovers your OS information and what are all the applications you are installed and what are all the services you have been running in your computer. So that's the discovery. Discovery is nothing but when the hacker hacks into your computer, in the computer he gathers the information. And then privilege escalation. Privilege escalation is nothing but hacker moves from lower level to higher level. If the hacker attacks the user account, then by gathering the information in the user account, he can easily attack the admin account. Privilege escalation is nothing but moving from lower level to higher level. And then execution. Execution is nothing but hacking your computer. And then credential access. Credential access is nothing but he gathers the username and password. And then lateral movement is nothing but he hacks one computer, then moves to another computer, then moves to another computer. So that's the lateral movement. And then collection. Collection is nothing but it gathers all the information about your system. So and then exfiltration. Exfiltration is nothing but gather the information from your network. And then impact. Impact is nothing but when the hacker hacks your computer, he introduces some malware or virus into your computer. By doing that, your computer may be compromised. So that's the impact. And then objective. Objective is nothing but hacker hacks the computer and then steals your information. That's the objective. So these are all the hacker methodology in the unified kill chain. In today's class, we are going to discuss about Security Operational Center. For short, SOC. SOC is nothing but it is the room for the cyber security professionals like security engineers. So this room contains all the cyber security professionals who will monitor your organization. So SOC is a term for cyber security professionals who monitor the organization IT infrastructures for threat and respond to them. They may be on-site or external to the organization. So a SOC is nothing but it is a room for the cyber security professional who will monitor your organization from the cyber attacks. And then the second one is nothing but SOC monitor. So in the SOCs, we need to have the responsibilities like monitoring the network, devices, database, servers, applications, websites of your organizations and other systems to identify the potential threats in real time. So SOC is nothing but we need to monitor our organization from cyber attack. So and then third one is nothing but if the attack occurs, SOC work to remove the threat and restore the system and backup. So the most important thing in the organization is you need to have backup. If any hacker tries to hack your computer and then achieve their objectives, you need to have the backup to restore your data. And the last one is nothing but the SOC use the incident to improve their process and policies and then update their cyber security tools. In nowadays, there are many cyber security tools which are useful for the security engineers. You need to update those tools for your organization. So that's the complete introduction to Security Operational Center. So it is nothing but it is a room for the security engineers monitor the system of your organization. Welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about incident response and incident management. So what do you mean by incident? Incident is nothing but an event. So the event can be if the hacker hacks your computer. That's the incident. So incident is an hacker hacks your computer. And then incident response is nothing but SOC will respond to those hackers' attack. So that's the incident response. So incident response is nothing but covers the technical aspect of the dealing with the incident. So this is the person that is responsible for the primary questions like what happened. For answering the what happened question, so there are three types. So the first one is the EDR or AV alert. So we are going to discuss about what is EDR in the upcoming classes. For basic understanding, EDR is nothing but endpoint detection and response. Endpoints are nothing but our laptop and other devices in the organization. And then for EDR, you need to have alert for those attacks. And then network tap alert. If the hacker hacks your network, then the alert will be generated. By monitoring those alerts, we can reduce the impact. And then the last one is nothing but SIEM. SIEM is nothing but Security Information Event Management. We are going to discuss about SIEM in the upcoming classes. So these are all the questions and answers for incident response. Incident response is nothing but hacker hacks your computer, then security engineers respond those attacks. So after that, we are going to discuss about incident management. So incident management is nothing but how we are going to reduce the impact of the hacker attack. So that's the incident management. So incident management covers the process aspect of dealing with the incident. So this is the person that is responsible for the answering the primary question, how do we respond to what happened? So the important question for incident management is how do we respond to the cyber attack? So for answering that, we have four answers. The first one is deciding which containment, which eradication, recovery actions will be taken. So how do we contain the attack? How do we remove the attack? And then how do we recover from those attacks? And then the second answer for those questions is nothing but deciding the communications that will be sent internally and externally while the team deals with the incident. So there are many professionals in your organization who can protect your data. There are many levels. If one level cannot remove the threat, another level will remove the threat. If those level cannot remove the threat, then other level will remove the threat. So you need to collaborate with those security professionals if you can remove those threat. And then third one is nothing but documenting the information about the incident. So we need to provide the report for the incident. And then last one is nothing but closing the incident. So closing the incident is nothing but removing the threat of the cyber attack. So this is the concept of incident response and incident management. So that's it guys. In next class we are going to discuss about what are all the levels in incident management. Welcome everyone. In today's class we are going to discuss about levels of incident response and incident management. So there are many levels followed by every organization, but we are going to discuss about 4 basic levels in organization. So the first level is nothing but SOC incident. For the full form of SOC, Security Operations Center. So Security Operations Center is nothing but it is a room where security professionals monitor your system. For example, I am going to use one of the attacks used by the hacker, that is phishing email. If your organization attacked by the hacker using the phishing email, then we are going to discuss about what are all the responses in each level of your organization. So in the first level of the SOC, so SOC is nothing but they will monitor your system. If the hacker sends an phishing email, it will be generated alert in the SOC center. Then the SOC management will remove those phishing email from your organization. So that's it. So that's the first level. At this level, upon investigation of our example, analyst finds that isolated event, therefore simply updates the mail filtering rules to block the sender. So if the security engineer finds if the mail is an spam email or phishing email, then they will block those sender. So if any one of the employees in your organization accidentally opens the phishing email and then type their details, what will be the level we are going to discuss? That will be the level 2. Level 2 is nothing but CERT incident. The full form of CERT is nothing but Computer Emergency Readiness Team. There will be a team ready for every attacks. So they will be invoked when the investigation found that several users received the email. So if the hacker sends every phishing email to every employees in your organization, then the level 2 CERT team will respond those incident. So the level 3 is CSIRT incident. If the user actually interacted with the email, we would evoke the Computer Security Incident Response Team, that is CSIRT incident. So what if the level 3 team cannot remove the attacks used by the hacker? Then level 4 will be invoked. So the level 4 is nothing but CMT incident. So if it is determined the scope is larger to investigation, we would invoke Crisis Management Team, that is CMT team. This team can authorize the use of nuclear actions such as taking the entire organization offline to limit the incident damage. So level 3 is the last level. In the last level, if the attacks cannot be reduced or removed, then whole organization will be in the offline. Then the team will remove the malware from your organization. So these are all the basic levels in every organization. Welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about the process of incident management. So the incident management is nothing but how we are going to respond for the cyber attacks. So the first process is preparation. Preparation is nothing but we are going to gather the information about the hacker attacks, about the hacker incident. So the information can be the source IP, source port, and then destination IP, destination port. So we are going to find whatever the devices attacked by the hacker. And then the second process is detection and analysis. So we are going to analyze whatever the methodologies used by the hackers in those devices, like pivoting, like lateral movement, like credential access. So these are all the detection and analysis. And then third one is nothing but containment, eradication, and recovery. So we need to reduce the impact of those cyber attacks. So by removing the threats or creating the backups for our data. So post-incident activity is nothing but, so we need to gather the lessons learned from the cyber attack. By gathering the information, we can prevent the attacks in the future. Welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about cyber defense frameworks. So we are going to discuss about what are all the cyber defense frameworks can be useful for the security engineers to protect the organization data. So first we need to know about the basic terminologies in cyber defense. So the first terminology is the APT. So the full form of APT is nothing but Advanced Persistent Threat. So for simple, APT is nothing but group of hackers like China hackers or Korean hackers or Indian hackers or Russian hackers or US hackers. So these are all the group of hackers called as APT. So you can see the meaning for those. This can be considered as team or group of hackers that engages in long-term attacks against organization or countries. So nowadays cyber attacks is the war of World War III. And then second terminology is nothing but TTP. The full form of TTP is nothing but tactics, techniques, and procedures. What are all the tactics used by the hackers? So the tactics can be the goal and objective of the hacker. And then techniques. Techniques is nothing but what are all the techniques used by the hackers to achieve their goal and objective. And then procedures. For example, for the procedure, if the hacker uses the phishing email, first they need to create the email. then they need to send those email to the employees. After that, if the user clicks and then types their credentials in the email, then the hacker can use their credentials to attack the user accounts. So these are all the step-by-step procedure in the email phishing. So that's it. So the first terminology is APT. APT is nothing but group of hackers. TTP is nothing but techniques, tactics and procedures. Welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about Mystery Attack website. So Mystery Attack is an encyclopedia for cyber attacks. It stores all the information about the cyber attacks which have been done by the hackers. So it will store all the tactics, techniques and procedures done by the hackers. So if you want to find any information about the cyber attacks, you can use Mystery Attack website. So there are many attacks available in the Mystery. The first one is the information gathering, resource development, and then initial access, execution, resistance, privilege escalation, defense evasion, credential access, discovery, lateral movement and collections, command and control, exfiltration and impact. So these are all the attacks. So these are all the sub-attacks in the main attacks. For the information gathering, the sub-attack is the active scanning. And also you can see the gather victim network information, gather victim host information, and then phishing information. So these are all the sub-attacks in the information gathering. So for example, I'm going to show the information about the active scanning. So active scanning is nothing but scanning the host. And also you can see the sub-techniques used in this active scanning. So sub-techniques like scanning the IP blocks, vulnerability scanning, and then word list scanning. So these are all the active scanning sub-techniques. And also you can see the procedure examples and then mitigation for active scanning. How do we defend the active scanning and how do we detect the active scanning? So you can see the detection techniques. So these are all the information about the active scanning. I'm going to select any one of the ID. So I'm going to select vulnerability scanning. So in the vulnerability scanning, you can see the informations about the procedures and also you can see the APT group. APT is nothing but advanced persistent threat. For simple, they are group of hackers. So these hackers uses vulnerability scanning for finding the vulnerabilities in the organization. And also you can see the description performed by the hackers. So they perform large scan attempt to find vulnerable servers. They find vulnerable servers. And then you can see the mitigation. How do we mitigate and how do we detect the vulnerability scanning done by the hacker? So if I select any one of the APT group, in that you can see the information about the APT group. Their country, their techniques, their tactics, their procedures will be provided in that information. So APT28 is an Russian based hackers and then they hack the organizations. And then you can see the group associated with them and then the techniques used by the hackers. So you can see the techniques used by the hackers like credential access and credential details. So these are all the APT group details. So Mystery Attack website is very useful for both red team and also blue team. If you want to know about the cyber attack information, you can use Mystery Attack website. So welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about Mystery Defend. So in the previous class, we have discussed about Mystery Attack. So attack is nothing but contains all the information about the cyber attacks. So we are going to discuss about how to defend from those attacks. For that, we are going to need the help of Mystery Defend. So we can see the defend for the cyber attacks. So the first one is the hardening the applications. If you want to harden the application, you can use that. Credential hardening, message hardening, platform hardening. And also you can see the sub-process for every hardening. So I'm going to show you an example. How do we harden our credential access? For that, we have to select biometric authentication. And then you can see the definition for the biometric authentication. And then relationship, you can see the diagrammatic representation of biometric authentication. So biometric authentication is nothing but we can use our fingerprint or eyes for the authentication purpose. So that's the concept of biometric authentication. And then you can see the patterns for the biometric authentication. So MITRE defend is nothing but how do we defend from the cyber attacks. And also you can see the what are all the procedures we need to follow for defending our organization. Welcome everyone. In today's class we are going to discuss about MITRE Engage. So for preparing the cyber attacks we need the help of MITRE Engage website. So you can select your own enterprise or mobile or ICS. And also you can select your hacker group. So these are all the hacker groups we can defend from them. So if you select any one of the hacker group, I'm going to select Rancor. And then you can see how do we prepare for the hacker group Rancor. So you can monitor your network. So you can monitor the network by defending the adversary attack. So you can filter any attack groups, that is the hacker groups. So after that I'm going to select Ajax security team. In that you can see the preparation for the hacker group. If the hacker attacks your computer, you can provide isolation for those computers. So that's the effect. And then you can also filter by tactics. So tactics is nothing but persistence, credential access or any other tactics. And also you can see the preparation for the tactics. So you can see the description for the preparation. So MITRE Engage is very useful for preparing the cyber attacks. So if you know this group will attack your organization, then you can prepare for the cyber attack. So that's it guys. In today's class we are discuss about MITRE Engage website. So MITRE attack is for the cyber attacks. MITRE defend is for the defending the attacks. MITRE Engage is for preparing for the attack. Welcome everyone. In today's class we are going to discuss about threat intelligence tools. What are all the tools which can be useful for the security engineers we are going to discuss. Before that we need to know about the basic concepts in the threat intelligence. So the first one is the strategic intel. So strategic intel is nothing but high level intel that looks into the organization threat landscape and then map out the risky areas based on the trends, patterns, emerging trends that can be impact the business decisions. So for simple words of strategic intel is nothing but you need to know about the trends of cyber attacks nowadays. By gathering the information about the cyber attacks, you can protect your organization. So that's the strategic intel. And then technical intel is nothing but looks into the evidence, artifacts of the attacks used by the adversary. What are all the tools used by the hackers to hack your computer? Like they use metasploits or mimikatz or any other nmap. So these are all the tools used by the adversary. Adversary is nothing but hacker. And then incident response team can use those intel to create the baseline attack surveys to analyze defense mechanisms. So if you know about the hacker tools, then you can find the weakness in those hacker tools. So weakness is nothing but every tool have a loophole. So loophole is nothing but it will leak their information in some of the places. So like Metasploit uses the port 444. If your system monitors the port 444, then it can generate the alert. So every tools will have a loophole. By using the loophole, we can find the tools used by the hacker. And then tactical intel is nothing but what are all the TTPs used by the hacker to attack your organization. So operational intel is nothing but the goals and objectives of the hacker. So if the hacker wants to upload the malware into your computer and then hacks your computer, so that's one of the goal of the hacker. So intel is nothing but goals and objectives of the hacker. So these are all the intels in threat intelligence. Welcome everyone. In today's class we are going to discuss about what are all the tools that can be useful for security engineers. So the first tool can be email hippo. So email hippo is very useful for if you want to verify the email address, you can use email hippo. So email hippo can find fake emails and also fake domains. So that's the use of email verification tool, that is email hippo. So for example, I'm going to type my email address and then I'm going to verify the email address. So after that, you can see the information about the email address. You can see the gender, result, reason and trust score. So the trust score is nothing but we can trust the email address. So that's the use of email hippo. If you want to verify the email address, you can use email hippo. So after that, we are going to discuss about the second website that can be useful for the security engineers. That is Have I Been Pwned. So Have I Been Pwned is very useful for it can verify whether your email address is leaked to the hackers or not. For that, I am going to type my email address and then I am going to type enter. So after that, you can see my email address is breached to the hackers. So you can see 3 data breaches have been identified. And also you can see the website Telegram channels which leaked my email address to the hackers. So the first one is the Telegram channel. So the Telegram channel leaks my email address to the hackers. And then the second one is the Cutout Pro. So Cutout Pro is a website that leaks my email address and password to the hackers. And then third is also the Telegram channel, which also leaks my username and email password to the hackers. By using this website, you can identify whether your email is leaked to the hackers or not. MISP is an malware sharing platform. So every users in the world will share their malware information. By using that information, we can protect our organization. So it is an open source threat intelligence sharing platform. So the users in the world will share their malware details or their cyber attacks to other users in the world. By using that information, the user can protect their organization or individual. So that's the use of MISP. Welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about one of the most important website for security engineers, that is abuse.ch. So it contains all the information about the malwares, cyber attacks, SSL certificates, botnets, all the information which can be useful for the security engineers. So we are going to discuss about the tools one by one. First, we are going to discuss about Malware Bazaar. For that, you need to open the Malware Bazaar website. So Malware Bazaar is a database which contains all the malware information which have been created by the hackers. So for that, you need to open the Malware Bazaar database. In that, you can see all the malwares which have been created by the hackers have been posted in the Malware Bazaar. So these are all the malwares which are being created by the hackers. And also you can see the description, hash file, and then type of the file, and then signature of the malware. So signature is nothing but behavior of the malware. So every malware has some behavior, that is the signature. And also if you want to download those malware, you can use that. So I am going to open any one of the malware. So in that you can see the details about the malware. You can see the intelligence, IOC, YARA. So in the intelligence, it will contains all the information about the malware which have been detected in other websites. So other websites consider this malware as malicious. And also you can see the signatures found in the malware. So that's the YARA signature. YARA is nothing but it can find the malware behavior. So YARA is very important in malware analysis. If you want to check whether the file is malware or not, you can use YARA. And also if you want to verify your file is malware or not, you can use the upload option in the Malware Bazaar. For that, you need to upload any one of your file and then you can check whether the file is malware or not. So Feedout Hacker is very useful for finding the botnets which have been blocked by the firewalls. So botnets are very dangerous because it can create command and control for the hackers. So if the hacker types any commands, he can easily control over the website or organization using the botnets. So if you want to find the botnets which have been blocked by the firewalls or any other antivirus, you need to select browse option. So in that you can see these are all the botnets which have been blocked by the firewall or any other antivirus. So you can see the IP address. So the malware is Picabot, and also you can see the status of the malware, that is offline state. So some of the malware is in the online state also, you need to verify that. So you can see the network and then country for the malware bot. So if I select any one of the IP address, you can see the information about the botnet. You can see the IP address, host name, and then AS number, and then AS name, country of the botnet, and then first scene and then last scene. And also you can see the port used by the botnet. So FIDO tracker is very important for finding any botnets blocked by the firewall or any other antivirus. So in today's class, we are going to discuss about SSL blacklist. So for example, the hackers uses any one of the fake certificate for HTTPS data transfer or any other file transfer. So for that, we need to know about what are all the fake SSL certificates created by the hackers. For that only SSL blacklist is very useful. So I am going to open the SSL blacklist. I am going to find what are all the fake certificates created by the hackers. So in that you can see these are all the fake SSL certificates created by the hackers. So if I select any one of the SSL certificate, you can see the information present in the certificates. So you can see the certificate IP address. So these are all the fake certificates created by the hackers. And then also you can see the reasons for blocking that SSL certificate. So that's it guys. In today's class we are discussing about SSL blacklist. So SSL blacklist can identify the fake certificates created by the hackers. Welcome everyone. In today's class we are going to discuss about URL hash. So URL hash is very useful if you want to verify whether the website URL is original or not, or whether the URL is malicious or not. For that we are going to see an example. Before that we are going to discuss about the URL hash database. So it contains all the malicious URL, malicious websites which have been created by the hackers are presented in the URL hash. So this is the one of the fake website or malicious website created by the hackers. And also you can see the status, that is online state. So you have to be very careful when you select online state. So you can see the information about the URL website. So you can see the URL status, host, and then date added, threat reporter, and then abuse and tags. And then you can see the hash file for the URL. So URL hash is very useful for if you want to verify whether the website is fake or original. Welcome everyone. In today's class we are going to discuss about threat fox. So threat fox is very useful for finding the IOC. IOC is nothing but indicator of compromise. So indicator of compromise is nothing but finding any vulnerabilities or finding any weak points in your organization that will be considered as indicator of compromise. So we are going to see about the example for indicator of compromise. For that we are going to open the threat fox database. So you can see these are all the indicator of compromise, and also you can see the malware names, tags, and then reporter. So reporter are nothing but the security engineer who finds the IOC in their organization. So if I select any one of the IOC, you can see the information about that. You can see the ID, type, malware name, and then country, first scene, and then last scene. So these are all the IOC database. So threat fox is very useful for finding any IOC in your organization. And also it contains the database for every IOC created. Welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about YARA. YARA is very useful for if you want to verify your file is malware or not, you can use YARA. For that, we are going to see an example, and then you have to scan the file with YARA. So you have to choose your file. I'm going to select the CSV file. After that, you need to select search. So you have to wait for the searching process. So YARA will check their database to verify the file is malware or not. After that, you can see the scan results. Whether the file is malware or not, you can see that there is no malware in my CSV file. So you can see no matches because there is no malware in my CSV file. So YARA is very useful for if you want to verify your file is malware or not, you can use YARA. Welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about the fundamentals of Windows operating system. We are going to discuss about the important files, folders, services, tools available in the Windows. So first we are going to discuss about our OS disk, that is local disk C. So local disk C is where the OS is present. So you need to know about the properties of your OS. So for that you have to right click and then you have to open the properties. So in that you can see the properties of the file. So you can see the file system, that is NTFS. NTFS is nothing but new technology file system. So this is the new technology for the file system, and then you can see the disk, and then you can see the option that is disk cleanup. So if you want to remove the temporary files or unwanted files from your disk, you need to select that option. So in the tools option, you can see the two options available. First one is the error checking. If your system have any errors, you can use that option to check any errors. And then optimize option. So if you want to optimize your Windows, you can use that option. If you want to optimize any particular disk or particular file or particular folder, you can use that option. So after that, we are going to discuss the sharing folder. So sharing folder is very important. You need to have the control over the sharing folder. So in the security tab, you can see the group and then user names available in your Windows OS system. So you can see the admin and then other users available in your system. And you can see the system have all the access to your OS. So you can modify, read, write, execute. So that's the power of root user. You need to protect your root user. If the hacker hacks the root user, then he can easily hack the user accounts. So after that, we are going to discuss about the important folder in your Windows. You need to protect this folder from the hacker. In the Windows, you need to open the System32 folder. So this folder contains all the important services, important files for your OS. So if any one of the file is compromised by the hacker, then your whole system will be cracked. So after that, we are going to discuss about the system information. So you need to open the run. So you need to type msinfo32. So this folder is same as system32 folder. So that will be in the GUI format. So you can see the system summary. So system summary is nothing but your OS information. So you can see the OS name, other details, BIOS information. So these information must be protected by us. So after that, we are going to discuss about the system boot information. For that, you need to open the run and then you have to type msconfig. So this will show the system boot information and also configuration file of the Windows. So you can see the general tab option, startup selection. So there are three types of startup: normal, diagnostic, selective. So if you want to diagnose the Windows, you can select that option. So in the boot option, you can use the safe boot. If the hacker hacks your computer and uploads any malware in your file, so you need to use the safe boot option to remove the malware. So safe boot have some limited resources. So that's why we need to use safe boot for removing those malwares. So in the services, you can see what are all the background services running in your computer. So you can see all the services running for your computer. So if you want to disable anything, you can disable that. and then startup tab, and then tools. So in the tools section is very important. If you want to find any tools of your Windows, then the command line will be generated in the tools section. So if you want to find the Windows information, you need to copy this code and then paste in the command. Then Windows information will be generated. So if you want to change the UAC settings, you need to copy this code and then you have to paste that command in the CMD. So after that, you can see the UAC. UAC is nothing but user account settings. So if you want to secure your computer, you need to have more UAC settings. So you can see each level there will be some description. So in that level, notify me when the apps try to make changes to my computer. So in that level, so the lowest level description is nothing but never notify me. So if you become a security engineer, you need to have more UAC account control settings. We can see the other information like security and maintenance. If you want to find the security and maintenance of your computer, you can use that. And then we can see the Windows troubleshooting. If your Windows facing any problems, you need to know these commands. And then computer management. If you want to view the configuration settings of your computer, you need to use that option. And then you can see the system information, msinfo32.exe file. So we have discussed that in the previous. And then event viewer. Event viewer is where the logs of the Windows present. So logs are very important in terms of security engineering. So log contains all the events. So the events like when you open the laptop, that is an event. When you close the laptop, that is an event. So these events will be generated in the Windows event viewer. For the logs, you need to open the Windows logs. In the Windows logs, you can see the options like application log, security log, system log, and setup logs. So these are all the separate logs available in the Windows event viewer. So we can see the application logs. So you can see the time, source, event ID, and task category. And also we can view the details about the Windows event logs. So security logs are very important in terms of security engineer, because when the hacker uses any brute force attack to log into your account, then the security logs will store the event. From that, we can find the hacker tries to hack our computer. So after that, we are going to discuss about the programs installed in our computer. So if you want to remove any programs, you need to copy this command and then paste that command. So after that, you can see the programs installed in your computer. If you want to remove any malware file or malware application, so you need to right click and then you have to select uninstall. Then the malware file will be uninstalled from your computer. So these are all the applications installed in your laptop. So and then you can see the system properties, your system configuration settings. So you need to copy the code and then paste that code in the command, and then you can see the system information. So your device specification. So the device name and then processor and then your RAM. So these are all the information about your computer. And then you can see the internet options. So if you want to block or allow any services for your internet, you can use that option. So you can see the general, security, so privacy, content, connection, programs, advanced. So in the security, if you want more security options for your internet, you can use high option. And then local intranet, trusted sites, and restricted sites. So if you want to block any sites, you can use restricted sites. So after that, we are going to discuss about the privacy. In that, you can see the settings options. So in the settings, you can see the sites. So if you want to have more privacy for your internet, you can use that option. So if you want to block or allow any website, you can type that address in the privacy settings. So that's the use of privacy. And that content is nothing but SSL certificates. So if you want to have any certificates for your connection, you can use that. And then you can see the VPN options. If you want to have any VPN options, you can use that. And then LAN settings. If you want to connect any LAN, you can use that option. And then programs. If you want to disable any extension for your browser, you can use that option. And then if you want to find the IP address of your computer, you need to have this command. That is nothing but ipconfig. So you can see the IP address of your computer. So and then performance monitor. If you want to find the performance of your computer, you can use that option. So I'm going to paste that code. In that you can see the performance of your computer. You can see the performance monitor. If any services uses more memory, you can find that services from the performance monitor. So after that, we are going to discuss about the resource monitor. So resource monitor is also same like the performance monitor. So resource monitor is more advanced. So it will monitor the CPU, it will monitor the network, it will monitor the memory of your computer. If any services uses more CPU, you can find that services from the resource monitor. And also you can disable or remove those services. So these are all the options. If you want to view particular service, you can select that service. So after that, we are going to discuss about the task manager. So task manager is also like the resource monitor. So it also contains the services, process, and then monitoring of your computer. So from that, if you want to remove any services, you have to select end task. So it will remove the services. So you can find any services uses your CPU more than, so you can remove those services. And then performance, you can see the resource monitor, and then you can see the app history, and then startup. So startup is nothing but when you start your OS, it will automatically start up in the background. So if you want to remove the startup apps, you need to disable those apps. So I'm going to disable the torrent. I'm going to select disable. So it will disable the startup option. And then you can see the details. So you can see the exe files running in your background. So if you want to remove any malicious exe file, you have to select end task. So it will remove those exe file running in your background. And then services. So services is also like background process. So if you want to stop, start, or disable, enable any services, you can use that option in the task manager. Windows registry. If you want to view the registry file of your computer, you have to open the command, and then you can see the registry in your computer. So there are 5 registry classes. So the first one is the root, and then current user, local machine, user, and then current config. So these are all the classes present in your registry. So local machine is for the local computer for the user. So you can see the SAM, security, and other applications installed in your computer. So every application must register their services in the registry. So after that, we are going to discuss about remote assistance. So remote assistant is same like AnyDesk. If you want to share your computer with others, you can use remote assistance. After that, we are going to discuss about system restore. So system restore is very useful for in terms of if you have any blue screen error or crashing error, you need to have system restore. It will generate the previous state. So after that, we are going to discuss about the important concept for the security engineers. So we are going to discuss about the antivirus, default antivirus in the Windows. So you need to have the virus and threat protection enabled. And also you need to enable the account protection, firewall, device security, and the other options available in the security. So you need to have the security antivirus. So these are all the options must be enabled. So after that, we are going to discuss about the firewall in Windows. For that, you have to open the Windows Defender firewall. So in that, you can see the GUI for the Windows Defender firewall. So firewall is very useful for accept or block any traffic for your computer. So you can see the inbound rules and then outbound rules. Inbound rule is nothing but incoming traffic. Outbound rule is nothing but outgoing traffic. So if you want to disable or allow any services, you can use Windows Defender Firewall. So you can see allow and then block process in the Windows Firewall. So tick mark is for the allow process, int for the disabled process, and also you can see the location for the process. So these are all the options available in the firewall. So firewall is very important for allowing or blocking any services, both incoming and then outgoing traffic. So that's it guys, we have discussed about the basic fundamentals of Windows. In the next class, we are going to discuss about the Linux fundamentals. Welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about the fundamentals of Linux OS. For the Linux OS, I am going to use Kali Linux. So Kali Linux is very useful for both blue team and then red team. So for that only, we are going to discuss about the Kali Linux. In that, we are going to discuss about the important folders, important files present in the Kali Linux, and also we are going to discuss about the applications that can be used for both red team and then blue team. So first we are going to discuss about the important folders present in the Kali Linux. So for that you need to open the folders. So this is the home folder for your Kali Linux. So you can see the downloads, music, pictures. After that we are going to discuss about the important folders in your OS. So for that you have to select other location. In that you have to select the Kali Linux. So you can see these are all the important folders for your OS. So the most important folder is etc and then root. So these two folders must be protected from the hackers, because these folders contains all the information about your Kali Linux, like your username and password. The etc folder stores your username and password. So that's why you need to protect the etc folder. So in the etc folder, there are many folders like apt. Apt is for installing the packages, and then you can see other most important folders like Ettercap and then Firebird, fonts, grub, dictionaries, Chromium, Apache. Apache is the most important service, and then Cron tabs. And then you can see the WIRESHARK, and then you can see the Snot. So these are all the important folders for your Kali Linux OS. So you can see the files like the configuration files. So the most important configuration files are present in the etc folder. And then you can see the shadow folder. So shadow folder contains the username and password for your Kali Linux. All the users, all the username, all the passwords will be stored in the shadow file. So that's why you need to protect those etc folder. And then you can see the sudo s. So sudo s files is nothing but what are all the users have more privilege access, they will be stored in the sudo s file. So for that only I am again and again saying etc folder is the most important folder in the Kali Linux or any other Linux. You need to protect from the hackers. For protecting the etc folder, we need to create restriction. For that you have to select properties. So in that you can see the permissions. So if you are a root user, you can edit your permissions. So normal users cannot edit the permissions in the etc folder. You must be a root user. Then only you can access or edit the files. And then you can see the home folder. So these are all the folders available in the Kali Linux. So the first folder is the bin folder, that is the binary folder. So all the binaries will be present in that folder. And then boot folder is for the grub process. So loading your OS, important folder. And then developer folder, etc folder, home folder for the user. And then library folder. So it contains all the libraries like 7-zip, Apache, files, GNU-PG, and then important Firefox files, GCC for compiling the C programs. So all the files will be present. And then library 32 contains the libraries of the Linux. So in the Windows you can see the program folder and also program 64 folder. So that's the same as library and then library 64. So the media folder contains your SAR folder. So whatever the SAR folders will be present. And then mount folder and then OPT folder. OPT folder contains all the operations. So you can see the Microsoft and then VBox guest additions. And then process. So you can see the process folder. So these are all the process, and then root folder and then run folder. So you can see the run folder contains the network manager, OpenVPN, SHM, SSH, and also you can see the sudo file. And then SBIN folder. SBIN folder contains the binaries, super binary files. And then services will be present in the SRV. And then you can see the file like FTP for file transfer, and then sys. So in the system folder you can see the files like developer files, FS files, firmware, hypervisor, kernel. Temporary files will be present in that folder. And then user files, games, library 32, library 64. So local user files will be present in that. And then var folder, that is the variable folder. So in the variable folder, for the security engineers, the variable folder is very important because logs are stored in the variable folder. So logs contains all the information about your Linux OS. So if the hacker attacks your computer, then logs will be stored in the var folder. So var is very important because it contains the log files for the system analysis. You can see the authentication logs. So authentication logs contains all the authentications present in your Linux OS. And then you can see the boot log, all the booting information present in those logs. And then you can see the cron logs. Cron logs are nothing but scheduled task logs will be present in the cron log. And then you can see other logs like syslog, last log, gun log, and VBox add log. So these are all the important logs. If you become a security engineer, you need to analyze those logs in the Linux OS. We are going to discuss about the backup folders. If you want to create any backups, you can use that folder. So these are all the important folders present in your Linux OS. So the most important folder is etc and then root. So etc contains the username and password files, and then root contains the root user files. So you need to protect those files, and also you need to have more permissions for those files. So after that, we are going to discuss about what are all the applications that can be useful for both red team and then blue team. So we are going to discuss about the inbuilt application in the Kali Linux. So you can see the inbuilt applications for each category like information gathering. So for the information gathering, you can see the tools like Nmap, ReckonNG, Multigo. So by using the information gathering, we can gather the information about the user or organization. And then vulnerability analysis. If you want to find any vulnerabilities present in your OS or organization endpoint devices, you can use that options. And then web application analysis. In that you can see the most important tool, that is WAZUH. WAZUH is a very important tool in web application. So for finding any vulnerabilities or finding any attacks in the web server, you can use WAZUH. And also you can use the SQL map for finding any SQL database in the website. So this tool can be useful for both red team and also blue team. And then database assessment, you can see the tool like SQL map. And then password attacks. If you want to crack any passwords, you can use the tools like Hydra, Hashcat, John the Ripper, Medusa. So Hydra is very useful for cracking the website password usernames, and Hashcat and John the Ripper for file username and password. And also you can use the John the Ripper and Hashcat for cracking the Windows username and password. And then wireless attacks. If you want to attack any Wi-Fi or troubleshoot your Wi-Fi, you can use these options. Fun, Wi-Fi cracker, AirCrackNG. These tools can be used for wireless attacks. And then reverse engineering, you can use the Metasploit for reverse engineering. And then exploitation tools. In the exploitation tools, you can use the searchsploit. So searchsploit is very useful for the red team. If you want to find any vulnerabilities in the services, you can use the searchsploit. And then Metasploit for exploiting the vulnerabilities. So searchsploit is useful for finding the vulnerabilities. Metasploit is useful for exploiting the vulnerabilities. And then you can see the sniffing and spoofing tools like WIRESHARK we are discussed in the previous class. And then you can see the TCP dump, escape. So these are all the sniffing tools. If you want to monitor the traffic analysis, you can use the WIRESHARK. And then post exploitation tools like Mimikatz, Netcat, Powersploit. So these are all the tools which can be useful for post exploitation. So if you want to crack the user and password of the Windows, you can use Mimikatz. If you want to remote access, you can use Evil WinDrum. So if you want to communicate with one computer to another computer, you can use Netcat. So in the forensics, you can see the important tool, that is autopsy. So if the hacker hacks your computer, then deletes any files or any folders, you can use the autopsy to recover those files and folders. And also you can analyze what are all the changes done by the hackers using the autopsy tool. And then you can see the reporting tools. For pen testers, you need to have reports for your organization. So you need to create what are all the vulnerabilities you have detected in your organization, website or endpoints. For that, you need to create a report. You can use the tool like Cherry Tree for creating the report. And then social engineering tools, the most important is SE tool. So SE tool can be used for creating phishing email. So for that only SE tool can be used. And then system services, so background services can be present in the system services. And then Kali Linux links. So these are all the documentation. If you want to learn about Kali Linux, you can see all the information about the Kali Linux. So after that, we are going to discuss about the important commands that can be used for both red team and then blue team. So if you want to find the IP address of your Linux OS, so you can type the command ifconfig. So after that, you can see the IP address of your Linux OS. So after that, we are going to discuss about the second command, that is pwd. So pwd is nothing but printing the current directory. So if you want to change the directory, you can type the command cd and then you can type the directory. If you want to open the folders like desktop or documents, you can type cd desktop. After that, we are going to discuss about how to create the file. So for that, you need to type the command toucha.txt. Then you can see the file is created. So if you want to type any commands or any other text, you can use the echo command. So if you want to view the file, you can type cat. So and then you can see the contents available in your txt file. So if you want to remove the file, you can type rm and then you can type the file name. Rm will remove the file. So if you want to create a new folder in the Linux OS, you can type mkdir and then folder name. You can type your own folder name and then you can see the folder is created. If you want to remove the folder, you can type rmdir and then folder name. It will remove the folder. So if you want to clear the commands, you can type clear. After that, we are going to discuss about the last command which can be used for the security engineers. So that is nothing but ps command. PS is nothing but show all the process in your Linux OS. So you need to type ps aux. So it will show all the background running process. So if you find any malicious process, you can remove those files by using the command kill command. By using the kill command, and then you can type the PID, that is the process ID. So you need to type kill and then process ID. It will remove the process. So that's it guys. In today's class, we have discussed about the complete fundamentals of Linux OS. We have discussed about the tools, applications, important folders in the Linux OS. In the upcoming class, we are going to discuss about the network fundamentals. If you want to become a security engineer, the first thing you need to know about is the network. So we are going to discuss about what are all the basic concepts involved in the network. So the first one is the IP address. So the full form of IP is nothing but Internet Protocol. If you want to identify the host in the network, you need to have IP address. For example, if the person wants to be identified, then he can use their identity card. Likewise, if the host want to identify them, then they can use IP address. So nowadays there are two IP address, IPv4 and IPv6. So this is the example for IPv4 address, and then this is the example for IPv6 address. After that, we are going to discuss about the MAC address. So IP address is used for identifying the host network. MAC address is used for identifying the devices. So devices like if your laptop wants to be identified, then it must use MAC address as an identification. So that's the MAC address. So devices on the network will have the physical network interface. It is a microchip board found on the device motherboard. This network interface is assigned a unique address at the factory. It is called MAC address. The full form is nothing but Media Access Control. So this is the example for MAC address. So the first 6 characters is for the vendor. So vendor is nothing but your manufacturer of the devices. So if your laptop is HP laptop, so that's the manufacturer. Every manufacturer have their own address. So that's the address of 6 characters. And then the last 6 character is nothing but your laptop address. Every individual laptop have their own addresses of MAC. So after that, we are going to discuss about the protocols, other protocols in networks. So if you want to communicate one computer to another computer, first you need to check whether the communication can be established. For that, we can use ping. Ping can be used for checking the communication that can be established between one network to another network. And then the second one is nothing but address resolution protocol. Address resolution protocol is nothing but it will translate MAC address into IP address. So there are 2 types of messages in ARP request and ARP reply. After that, we are going to discuss about DHCP protocol. So the full form of DHCP is nothing but Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. So it will assign IP address to your host. If you are new to the network, there is no IP address will be provided for you. Then you have to request for IP address from your ISP. ISP is your Internet Service Provider. Then they can assign IP address to your devices. So that's the use of DHCP protocol. DHCP protocol is nothing but assigning IP address to your host. Welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about network security and traffic analysis. So network security and traffic analysis is one of the most important responsibility must be followed by the security engineer and also SOC analyst. So the first concept is network security. So there are 2 core concepts in network security. So first one is the authentication. So the authentication is nothing but you need to accept only valid users. So the users must have their valid identification details. Then only you can accept those users. Authorization is nothing but you need to allow users to access the services which are allocated for them. So if the user are free users, then they can access only free sources. So if the users are paid to your services, then those users can access your services. So that's the authorization. And then the second concept is network traffic analysis. Network traffic analysis is nothing but monitoring our network. So monitoring our network organization. So these are all the 2 important concepts in SOC analyst and also security engineers. The first one is the security of the network and then traffic analysis of the network. By doing that, we can protect our organization network from the cyber attack. Welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about network traffic analysis tool, that is WIRESHARK. We are going to discuss about WIRESHARK. So WIRESHARK is an open source packet analyzer. It will analyze your packet, incoming packet and also outgoing packets. So WIRESHARK can be used for network troubleshooting, analysis, software and communication protocol. So in today's class, we are going to discuss about how to install the WIRESHARK and how to analyze the packets incoming from our traffic. So you can see the documentation. Before that, we are going to discuss about what is WIRESHARK used for. So it is an open source network analyzer. It can capture and display real-time details of your network. So that's the basics of WIRESHARK. It will monitor your networks in the real time. So it can be used for both real-time packet analyzer and also troubleshooting your network, whether the communication can be established or not. So if the hacker tries to hack your computer by using any ping or ICMP protocol, then the WIRESHARK will capture those packets. From that, you can analyze the hacker's methodology. So hackers uses WIRESHARK for intercepting and logging the packets. So WIRESHARK can be used for both red team and blue team. So the red team is nothing but the ethical hackers or other hackers. So hackers uses the WIRESHARK to intercept your network. So the blue team, that is the security engineer, uses WIRESHARK for monitoring the network. So it can be used for both the team, blue team and then red team. So after that, we are going to open the WIRESHARK website. So you have to open the website. So in that, you can see the download option. If you select that, the WIRESHARK will be downloaded. And then you have to install the WIRESHARK for your computer. So we are going to select the documentation. So you can see the YouTube links for the manual of WIRESHARK. So these are all the documentation available in the WIRESHARK. So if you want to learn about the WIRESHARK, you can use the website of WIRESHARK. So after that, I am going to open my Kali Linux. In that, we are going to discuss the network traffic analyzer tool, that is WIRESHARK. So we are going to open the WIRESHARK. So this is the GUI for the WIRESHARK. So in that, you can see all the interfaces available in your computer, like Ethernet 0, any loopback. So you can see all the interfaces will be available. If you have any Wi-Fi, then the interface will be available in the WIRESHARK. So you can select your own interface in the WIRESHARK. I am going to select the any. So any interfaces can be used for the WIRESHARK traffic analysis. So I am going to select the any traffic. So after opening the interface, I am going to show you an example how the hacker tries to ping your computer. So when the hacker tries to ping your computer, then the WIRESHARK will analyze the ICMP packets from the hacker's computer. So we are going to discuss that example. So I am going to ping. So consider this as an hacker terminal. So the hacker tries to ping your computer, whether the communication can be established or not. So after the hacker tries to ping your computer, WIRESHARK analyzes the incoming packets from the hacker. So you can see the packets coming from the hacker's computer. So you can see the informations available in the WIRESHARK. So we are going to discuss the examples. So you can see the ICMP uses request and reply. It will request whether the communication can be established or not. If the communication can be established, then the destination will show reply message. So the first one is the time and then second one is the source IP. So source IP, for example, you need to consider the source IP is the hacker's IP. So 10.0.2.5 is the hacker's IP. And then destination IP. So consider the destination IP as a security engineer laptop. So hacker tries to communicate with the security engineer laptop. Then uses the protocol ICMP protocol. And then you can see the length of the packets. You can see 100 is the length of the packets. And then info is ping. So it tries to communicate with your laptop. And then first will be the request. Hacker tries to request to your computer. Then your computer replies to the hacker whether the communication can be established. And then you can see the ID, sequence number, time to live. TTL is nothing but time to live. So ICMP uses request and reply. So if you select any one of the packets and double click that, you can see the details of the packets, like the frame used in the packets, like the section number, interface ID. So we are just using the any interface. And then encapsulation is nothing but combining all the packets in one packet. And then arrival time, so you can see the time of the hacker tries to ping our computer, and then UTC arrival time, epoch arrival time, and then shift for the times. So these are all the time values. And then you can see the frame number, frame length, capture length. So this uses the ICMP protocol. So these are all the coloring values. So our security engineer laptop is Linux, so that's why it shows Linux. And then you can see the packet types, packet layers, and then protocol is the IPv4 protocol. And then you can see the IPv4, so that's the internet protocol, time to live, and all the details in the packets. So in the WIRESHARK, it will be considered in the order of OSI layer model. So first will be the physical layer, then data link layer, then network layer, then transport layer, then session layer, and then last one will be the application layer. So this order will be in the WIRESHARK. So you can see the options available in the WIRESHARK. So first one is the starting the packet analyzer, and then second one is stopping the analyzer, and then third one is the pausing the analyzer. So you can see all the options available in the WIRESHARK. So if you want to save this file, you can use the save file option. So the file can be saved as pcap png or pcap file. You can select your own format, and then you have to type the name and then save your file. So that's how we can save our capture. So if you want to find your packets in the analyzer, so you need to type the shortcut key Ctrl+G. After that, you can see the packet is generated. You need to type the packet name. So I'm going to type packet 20. So and then you can see the packet 20 will be available in the packet analyzer. So you can see 20 is available. So if you want to find, so there will be many packets in our analyzer. So you need to use the shortcut key for every values. So the shortcut key for finding the packet is Ctrl+G. So in the statistic tab, you can see all the information about your packet analysis. So the first one is the capture file properties. So if you select that option, you can see all the properties of your packet. So you can see the name of your packet, length of your packet, and then hash file of your packet. So the hashes can be many types. So the hashes can be many types. SHA-256, SHA-512, SHA-1. So and then you can see the OS information, and then interface, measurement. So these are all the properties of your file capture. So the statistic tab is very important in the WIRESHARK. It will show all the information about your packet capture. So after that, we are going to discuss about the second option. So you need to select resolved addresses. So we can see the address of the each values. The IP value will be converted into name. So you can see the name of the IP address, and also you can see the name of the MAC address also. So all the address will be converted into name. So that's the resolved address. So you can see the ports and file commands. And then we are going to discuss about protocol hierarchy. So in that, you can see the protocols in the WIRESHARK. You can see the internet protocol, transmission control protocol. So these are all the protocols. After that, we are going to discuss about the conversation. So conversation is very important. When the hacker communicates with the security engineer laptop, then these two IP address will be present in the WIRESHARK. So the address A is the hacker address. Address B is the security engineer address. So you can see all the information about the conversation between the hacker and then security engineer laptop. So also you can see the bytes on the packet size. So the packet coming from A to B or B to A. So these are all the IPv4. So conversation is very important in terms of security engineering network analysis. and then endpoint. So endpoint is nothing but hacker tries to communicate with any one of the devices in your organization. You need to find which device the hacker tries to communicate, whether the device can be server or your laptop. And then we can see the packet length, IO graph, service time, service response time, and then DHCP statistics, and you can see other. So there are many options available in the statistics. So we have just discussed about the basic statistics. So we can see the last important statistics, that is the IPv4. So it can capture both the hacker address and also security engineer address. So if you want to analyze the HTTP, you can use that option. So HTTP. So hacker can use WIRESHARK to find the credentials of the user in the HTTP tab. So that's why every website must use HTTPS, because HTTP don't use encryption, but HTTPS uses encryption. So after that, we are going to discuss about the tool tab in the WIRESHARK. So in the tool tab, you can see the firewall rules. So you can see the firewall rules like whether the IP address can be allowed or not. So if you want to allow any IP address, you can use that option. So after that, we are going to discuss about the credentials in the tools. So in the credentials, the WIRESHARK can capture the username and password in the packets. So if the packets contains any username or password, it will be generated in the credential tab. So these are all the important details about the WIRESHARK for packet analysis. So WIRESHARK is very important for analyzing your packets, both incoming and also outgoing traffic. So from that, you can analyze the hacker's IP address and also your own destination IP address. And also you can find the conversation between the hacker and then endpoint devices. So that's it. We have discussed about the WIRESHARK. Welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about SYSMON. The full form of SYSMON is nothing but system monitor. So we are going to monitor our system. So SYSMON is like an antivirus which going to monitor our system. So the SYSMON is very useful for detecting the malicious activity by tracking their code behavior and the network traffic. And also we are going to create detections based on the malicious activity. So for short, SYSMON is nothing but an antivirus which is going to monitor our system. So we are going to discuss about the documentation of SYSMON, and also we are going to discuss about how to install SYSMON. So in that you can see the download option. So if you select that, SYSMON will be downloaded. And also you can see the SYSMON for Linux. If you want to download Linux, you can download that. So you can see the zip file. So before running our file, you can see there are 3 files, 64 and SYSMON exe and 64a exe. We are going to use SYSMON exe. So after that, we are going to discuss about the introduction for the SYSMON. So SYSMON is nothing but system monitor. So in the Windows service, and also we are going to monitor the system. So it will provide detailed information about our system monitor details. So like if any process are created, it will generate an event. If any network is connected, it will generate an event. If any file changes happened, it will generate an event. So these events will be stored in Windows event collector. So SYSMON will create an event. These event will be stored in Windows, especially Windows event logs. So from the SYSMON, we can identify the malicious activity in our Windows. So you can understand how the intruders attack your computer. So you can see the overview of SYSMON capabilities. The first one is the log process. It can create logs, and then creating the records for the process image files. It will create the hash file for your image, and then you can see other overview of SYSMON capabilities. So the basic one is nothing but monitoring the system. So this is the screenshot for SYSMON. So it will be placed in the Windows event logs. So we are going to discuss that in the upcoming class. So we can see the installation for the SYSMON. So you can see the install button for SYSMON 64 -i and then configuration file. So I is for installing the service, C is for updating the configuration, M is for creating the manifestation, so S is for printing the schema, and then U is for uninstalling the service. If you want to install the service, you need to type SYSMON -i. So this is the syntax for installing the SYSMON configuration file and then accepting the file. So the SYSMON is basically depends on the events. So the events like process creation. So the process creation event is 1. 1 is for process creation. So event ID 2 is for file creation. And then event ID 3 is for network connection. If any network is connected, then SYSMON will generate an alert. And then service changed, so and then process terminated, driver loaded, image loaded. So these are all the events present in your SYSMON which can be useful for our system monitor. So this is the simple configuration file for the SYSMON. So you can see the XML file of the SYSMON file. You can see the signature. So signature is very important in SYSMON. So you can see the network connection. If the network is connected, then the system will generate an event. So that's the code for network connect on match include, then destination port 443 is nothing but HTTPS, and then destination port 8080 is nothing but HTTP. If any port is connected through these ports, then the system will generate an alert. So we are going to install our SYSMON file. We are going to use this XML file for our configuration. So you need to open this folder with the command prompt. In the command prompt, you need to type these codes for installing the SYSMON. So you need to type sysmon.exe and then you need to type -acceptula -i. We are going to accept the rules and regulations for the SYSMON. So and then you have to type the configuration file. So you need to run the code. You can see all are started. SYSMON is started. So then the SYSMON will create and logs in the Windows event log. For that, you have to open the Windows event viewer. So you have to open the run for opening the Windows event viewer. You have to type eventviewer.msc. So you need to type this code eventviewer.msc and then you have to open the file. So this is the GUI for Windows event logs. All logs will be stored in this position. So if you want to find any authentication logs or system logs or network logs, so you have to open the Windows event viewer. So you can see the security log, setup log, system log and forwarded events. You need to wait for the logs to be loaded in your Windows event viewer. So we are going to open our SYSMON. For the SYSMON, you have to open the application and service log. In that you have to open the Microsoft and then you have to open the Windows. Then you have to search for the SYSMON. So it will be in the alphabetical order. You have to go for the yes. So yes contains the SYSMON. So you have to check for the SYSMON. So there it is. So SYSMON is fine. So you can see the SYSMON is completely installed in our Windows. You can see the events generated by the SYSMON is 825. So 825 events have been generated by the SYSMON. So the events can be process creation. Any new process is created, then the alert will be generated. So if the hacker creates any new process, this process will be generated as an alert in the SYSMON. So that's the use of SYSMON. So you can see the information and then date and time, source and then event ID and then task category. So the date and time can be your local time and then source is the SYSMON and then event ID 1 is for process creation. If any process is created, then event will be generated. So the process can be both Windows process and also maybe hacker process. So you have to check one by one whether the process is Windows process or hacker process. So for that you can see the details. So in the details you have to check for the hacker process. So in the general you can see the process created in the SYSMON. So you can see Splunk created the process python.exe. So that's why the event is generated. So you can see the exe file. And then you can see all the details about the process created. So you can see the logon ID and then command line. So these are all the values created in the SYSMON. So that's it guys. In today's class we have discussed about SYSMON. So SYSMON is very useful for monitoring our system. So if any new process or any network connected to our Windows, then the SYSMON will create and log. So these log will be stored in the Windows event viewer. So you have to go through one by one logs whether you can find the hacker process or your genuine window process. Welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about endpoint security monitoring. So endpoint security monitoring is nothing but we are going to monitor our devices in our organization. So the devices can be switch, routers, servers, computer, printers. So these are all the devices we need to monitor, because by monitoring those devices, if the hacker attacks those devices, we can identify the incident. So first we need to know about the core window process. So Windows is one of the endpoint for our organization. So we need to know about the process of Windows. So this symbol shows that parent-child relationship. So system is the parent, SMSS. SMSS is nothing but session manager is a child services. So in window process, there will be a parent-child relationship. So the first process is nothing but system process, that is kernel process. And then second process, that is the parent process, creates the second process, that is smss.exe. smss.exe is nothing but session manager for creating the session for the users. And then the second process is nothing but csrss. And then you can see the fourth process, Windows initialize, for initializing your Windows. And then Windows initialize is the parent process which creates the child process services.exe. Services.exe is nothing but it will generate all the services required for your computer. After that, the services.exe will create the child process, that is service host.exe. So SVC host is nothing but service host. It will provide the services for your user computer. And then you can see lsass.exe. It will provide authentication and authorization for the users. After that, we are going to discuss about Windows logon.exe. Windows logon.exe is nothing but logging process of the user. So explorer.exe is nothing but applications in your Explorer. So these are all the core window process you need to know for the security engineering. So the first process is the system process. So these are all the child process of the system. So smss.exe is nothing but system management, and then Windows initialize, service host, authentication, login, and then applications. So these are all the services you need to know. Welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about the complete details of WAZUH. WAZUH is an open source XDR and open source SEM. SEM is nothing but Security Information Event Management. So WAZUH is very important for the security engineers who will monitor the endpoint devices. So the endpoint devices are nothing but our organization devices like PC, laptop, or any other servers. So these are all the endpoint devices. So you need to open the WAZUH website. So you can see the advantages of WAZUH. So WAZUH can be useful in terms of endpoint security, threat intelligence, security operations, and cloud security. So these are all the capabilities of WAZUH. So after that, we are going to install the WAZUH for our Windows. For that, you need to open the documentation. So in the documentation, you can see the download option, that is the virtual machine. So you have to open that link. So after that, you can see the documentation for the virtual machine. So you need to download the WAZUH using the virtual machine WAZUH file. So you have to open that. And then you can see the download option is started. So after the download is completed, you need to open the WAZUH file. So you can use VMware or VirtualBox. Based on your own choice, you can choose any one of them. So I'm going to choose VirtualBox. So you need to select the folder for the WAZUH. After that, you need to select finish. So you can see WAZUH is imported in the VirtualBox. So after that, you need to select the settings. So in the settings, you have to select the in the settings option, you have to select the system. So and then you have to select the RAM size 8 GB, and then processor must be 4 CPU. So that's the requirement for WAZUH. And then display option 128 MB for the video memory, and then VM SVGA option, you need to select that option. You need to check for the OVA file, and then you have to select the network. In the network, I'm going to use the bridge adapter. In the advanced, you can select allow all Prometheus mode. You can select that option, and then you have to select OK. So these are all the settings for the WAZUH in the VirtualBox. After that, you have to select start. So you have to wait for the starting process. So after that, you can see the WAZUH password and username is generated. You need to type the username and password in the WAZUH. So I'm going to type the server login. First, you need to type the username, and then password is nothing but WAZUH. So after that, you need to convert to root user. For that, you have to type sudo, and then you have to type the -i. So that's the command for the root user. And then you have to clear the commands. So you need to type these 3 commands for starting your WAZUH. The first command is for starting the WAZUH manager. So for that, you need to type systemctl. So for starting the service, you need to type systemctl and then start WAZUH manager for starting our WAZUH manager. After that, you have to type the second command for starting the dashboard of the WAZUH. For that, you have to type systemctl start WAZUH dashboard. Then you have to type the third command for starting the WAZUH index. You need to type systemctl start WAZUH indexer. So you need to wait for the process. So after that, you need to check for the status. So you have to type systemctl status WAZUH dashboard. You can see it is actively running in our website. So that's it. We have successfully installed WAZUH in the VirtualBox. So you need to check for the IP address. For the WAZUH, you need to type IPAS, and then you can see the IP address of the WAZUH dashboard. So you have to copy the IP address, and then you have to open the web browser. So you need to copy paste the IP address in the web browser. So after that, you can see WAZUH dashboard is available. So if you faces any error in the WAZUH manager or indexer, you have to check for the documentation in the WAZUH website. So you have to type the admin. So you have to type the username and password. After that, you have to select login. So you can see all will be started in the few moments. So that's it, guys. We have successfully installed WAZUH for our endpoint device, that is the Windows. So this is the GUI for the WAZUH. So in the navigation bar, you can see the options like home. So that's the home page of the WAZUH dashboard. And then explore. In the explore, you can see the options like discover, dashboard, visualize, report, alert, maps, notification. So these are all the explore options. So in the endpoint security, you can see the options like configuration, assessment, malware detection, file integrity monitoring. So these are all the options available in the endpoint. And then you can see the threat intelligence, you can see the threat hunting, vulnerability detection, MITRE attack, and virus total. So if you want to find any vulnerability in your endpoint devices, you can use that options. If you want to find any MITRE attack in your endpoint, you can use that options. And then you can see the virus total. So virus total is one of the website that can be useful for the security engineers. So you can use the virus total API in the WAZUH dashboard. After that, you can see the security options. So in that, you can see the rules and regulations like PCI, DSS, GDPR, HIPAA, NIST 853 and TSC. PCI DSS is nothing but payment card, and the GDPR is nothing but general data protection, and then HIPAA is for the health protection, NIST is for the National Institute of Standards and Technology. And then you can see the cloud security, you can see the Docker, Amazon Web Services, that is the AWS, and then Google Cloud, GitHub, Office. If you want to secure those AWS, Google, you can use WAZUH. So after that, you can see the server management. If you want to manage your server, you can use that options. You can see the endpoint, summary, groups, rules, decoders, list, status, cluster, statistics, logs, settings, developer tools, rule set test, and then security. So these are all the options in the server management. And then you can see the indexer management. If you want to create a new index, you can use that options. Index management, snapshot management, security, sample data, and developer tools. So these are all the options in the indexer management. So in the dashboard management, you can see the API for the WAZUHs. So you can use other APIs in the WAZUH dashboard. So these are all the options in the WAZUH dashboard you can use for your security purpose. So after that, we are going to discuss about how to add the agent in the WAZUH dashboard. So the agents like our Linux, Windows, Mac, or any other server. So these are all the agents. We are going to discuss about how to add the agent. So for that, you need to select that option, add agent. So after that, you can see the options like Linux, Windows, and Mac. So these are all the agents which can be added in the WAZUH. So in the Linux, you can see the options like Debian package and then Red Hat package. So if you want to use the Kali Linux, you can choose Deb. If you want to choose any Red Hat Linux, you can choose RPM. So there are many options. I'm going to choose Windows. And then you have to type the server address. That is nothing but our IP address. So you need to type the WAZUH dashboard IP address. So you have to type that address in the server. So and then you can see the optional settings. You have to type your agent name. You can type your own agent name. I'm going to type Windows 10. So that's my Windows. So I'm going to type Windows 10. So the agent name must be unique. So that's why you have to type unique name. And then you can see the code for running the agent in your computer. For that, you have to copy the code and then you have to open the PowerShell in your Windows. So if you use Linux, you can choose root terminal. For Windows, you need to choose PowerShell. So I'm going to copy paste the code from the WAZUH. So after that, you need to wait for the WAZUH agent to be added. So that's it. The Windows agent is successfully added in the WAZUH. So if you want to start the agent, you need to type this code. So you have to type start service and then WAZUH. So after that, you can see your service will be started. So you have to refresh the WAZUH manager. So after refreshing, you can see our Windows agent is successfully added in the WAZUH dashboard. So you can see the IP address, group, and then operating system. That is nothing but our endpoint Windows 10. And also you can see the cluster node, version, and then status. So status must be active. If the status are stopped or disconnected, you need to active the state. So our Windows 10 is successfully added in the WAZUH. So after that, we are going to open our WAZUH agent, that is our Windows 10. So we are going to discuss about what are all the events generated by the WAZUH in our agent. So and then you can see the Mitri attack counts for your evolution and then compliance and then recent events. So these are all the events generated by the WAZUH. In the Mitri event, you can see the top tactics, that is the defense evasion. So in the threat hunting, you can see the options like in the dashboard. So if you know about the Splunk, so Splunk is also same as WAZUH. So you can see the authentication failure and then authentication success. If any hacker uses brute force to log in into your computer, then WAZUH will generate the authentication success and then authentication failure. If success, it is in the authentication success. If failure, it is in the authentication failure. So WAZUH is very important in terms of security engineering for monitoring the endpoint devices. So you can see the dashboard. So in the threat hunting, you can see the security alerts like new WAZUH agent is connected, WAZUH agent is stopped, and then WAZUH agent is started. And also you can see the tactics and techniques. So the tactic is nothing but the defense evasion. So when the WAZUH agent is stopped, it is considered as defense evasion. So there are 3 events generated by the WAZUH. So you can also see the same results like agent start, agent stop, and connected. And also you can see the fields like role description, ID, level, agent IP. You can see the agent IP, that is our IP. And then agent ID, agent name is nothing but our Windows 10. And then data extract, that also Windows 10. So these are all the fields which can be useful for monitoring our endpoint system. So if you want to search anything in the WAZUH, it will be considered as query language. So WAZUH uses SQL. So for SQL, it is kind of like open search dashboard query language. It also same as SQL, but it is in the different name. So it will be considered as DQL, dashboard query language. Also, if you want to change the time, you can use that option. If you want to select the real time, you can use now option. If you want to select any year, month, you can use absolute. So in the absolute, you can see the years. If you want to select the first time, that is 00, that's the first time of the day. So the last time of the day is nothing but 23:30. So that is nothing but 11:30. And then relative can be date between ranges. So after selecting the time, you can select update. So you can see new event is generated, that is software production service scheduled successfully. So by using the WAZUH, it will generate the event in the real time. So you can also discover the other things like file integrity monitoring. So file integrity monitoring is nothing but if any changes in the file, the event will be generated. And then MITRE attack. So if any MITRE attack is generated in your computer, it will show the MITRE attack tactics and then techniques. So MITRE attack is nothing but encyclopedia for cyber attacks. It contains all the tactics, techniques, procedures done by the hackers. So WAZUH uses MITRE attack website for finding any MITRE in your devices. So in the framework, you can see the options like tactics. So you can see the tactics. So tactics is nothing but hacker methodology. So the first one is the defense evasion, credential access, execution, impact. So only one tactic is generated in our endpoint device, that is the defense evasion. So if you have more tactics, then the information will be stored in the WAZUH. So that's it guys. In today's class, we are discussed about how to install WAZUH in the Windows 10, and also we are discussed about how to install the agent for our WAZUH. So WAZUH is very important for the security engineers in terms of monitoring the endpoint devices. Welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about the complete details of OpenWAS. OpenWAS is very useful for finding the vulnerabilities present in our computer. So OpenWAS is used for system vulnerability scanner. It also checks the visible ports, services it can access for known exploits, and then high-level web threats. So OpenWAS is a free vulnerability scanner. So that's why we need to know about OpenWAS. So the full form for the OpenWAS is nothing but Open Vulnerability Assessment Scanner. So you can see the documentation for the OpenWAS. So you can see the products, source code. So for installing the OpenWAS in VirtualBox, you need to download the WAZUH file. So for that, you have to check for the WAZUH file in the Greenbone website. So that's the official website. So and then you can see the download option. So you can select the download option for VirtualBox. You can also use VMware if you want. I'm going to choose the VirtualBox. So you can see the third option, that is the download. So you have to select that option and then you have to select download. So after that you can see the download is started. So you have to open the WAZUH file as an VirtualBox. So you have to select the folder for your OpenWAS. So you can select your free folder and then you have to select finish. So you have to open the file and then you have to select the options in the system. You have to select the RAM for your OpenWAS. You can select 6 GB or 8 GB, whatever you want. And then processor will be 2 CPU. And then you have to select the display. Video memory will be 128. And then you have to select VM SVGA option for the graphics controller. And then storage, you need to check for the WAZUH file imported. And then network, I'm going to use bridged adapter. So in the advanced, you can allow the Prometheus mode. And then you have to select OK. After that, you have to select start. So that's it. We have just imported the WAZUH file in the VirtualBox. You have to wait for the process. So after that, you can see the login for your OpenWAS in the VirtualBox. You have to type the admin for the login and also admin for the username password. So in that you have to select yes and then yes. You have to create the account name and then password for your OpenWAS. After that you have to select OK. Then you can see user is created. So after that you have to copy the IP address present in the OpenWAS in the browser. So you need to type the IP address in your browser. So you have to type HTTP and then IP address. So then you can see the GUI for the OpenWAS. Navigation tabs like dashboard, scans. In the scan you can see the options like task, report, result, vulnerabilities, nodes, overrides. And then assets. So assets can be host, operating system and then TLS certificates. And then you can see the policies and then audits. So CV is very important term in vulnerability. So CV contains all the vulnerability details. And then configuration, you can see the target. If you want to create target, you can choose that. Port list, credentials, scan configuration, reports. So in the admin, you can see the options like users, roles. In the help, you can see the manuals for the OpenWAS. So if you don't know how to use OpenWAS, you can choose the manual. So we are going to scan our windows. For that, I'm going to select scan. In that, I'm going to select task. So task is for scanning our vulnerability. So you have to select a new task. And then you have to type the name of your task. I'm going to type Windows. You can type your own name. I'm going to type Windows 10. And then you have to create the target. So target is nothing but the IP address of the Windows. So you have to type the target name. Again, I'm going to type Windows. So we can type the IP address. So you have to type the IP address in the manual section. So you have to select save. So after that you can see the minimum quality of detection. So if you want 100%, you can choose 100%. So but it will take more amount of time. So after that you can see the scanner. You can choose OpenWAS default. So after that you have to select the scan config. If you want discovery, you can choose that. I'm going to choose full and fast. So that's it. You have to select save. So and then you can see the status of your scanning result. So you have to wait for the starting process. So you have to select start. Then the vulnerability scanner will scan your Windows 10. So you can see the status, that is the 0%. it will take more amount of time, whether it can be 5 hours or 1 day based on your vulnerabilities present in your Windows. So after the 5 hours is completed, you can see the results for your vulnerability scanning. So you can see the results like the vulnerability, severity, and then quality of detection. So you can see the vulnerabilities like jQuery vulnerability, and then TLS vulnerability, that is the DOS vulnerability. And then you can see the information about the vulnerability. You can see the detection result, insight, and then detection method, and then affected software OS, and then impact, and then solution. Solution is nothing but updating your services. The most basic solution for every vulnerability is updating your service. And then you can see the references. References is the CVE. CVE contains all the information about the vulnerability. So you can see the CS. So you can see the CVSS score, that is medium only. So these are all the references. So every options there will be a description. In the description you can see the important, that is the solution. So the basic solution is updating your service. So if you want to download the report, you have to select the download option, and then you have to select the format. I am going to select PDF format, and then I am going to select OK. So then the PDF will be downloaded. So you have to open the PDF file. So in that you can see the complete information about the vulnerability scanning done by the OpenWAZUH. So this is very useful, and also it is a free open source. So if you want to create report for your organization vulnerability, you can use OpenWAZUH. So that's it guys, we have discussed about OpenWAZUH vulnerability scanner. So it is very useful for the security engineers who wants to find the vulnerabilities in the devices of the organization. Welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about security information and event management. For short, it is called as SIEM, SIEM. SIEM stands for Security Information and Event Management System. So it is very useful for monitoring your logs in your computer. So logs are nothing but events in your computer. For example, if you open Chrome browser, that will be the log. If you close the Chrome browser, that will be the log. So these are all the logs which can be monitored by the security engineers. So log is very important. So it contains all the events in your computer. So in SIEM there are 4 processes. The first process is nothing but collect data from sources. So data is nothing but log. Log from your computer or Linux, Windows, Mac, server, router, switch. Every devices will have logs. You need to collect those logs and then aggregate those logs. So you need to provide indexes for those logs. So this is the Windows log, this is the Linux logs, so this is the server logs, this is the authentication logs, so this is the system logs. So you need to aggregate those data and then you need to analyze those logs. So in the log you can see when the hacker hacks your computer, it will be converted to logs. So in the timeline you can see hacker hacks your computer. So in the last process, you need to identify the breaches and investigate alerts. So if the hacker hacks your computer, then SIEM provides an alert. From the alert, you can find whatever devices hacked by your hacker. So this is the complete introduction to SIEM. SIEM is nothing but we need to monitor the logs. By monitoring the logs, we can find the attacks of the hacker. Welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about log ingestion. Log ingestion is nothing but collecting the logs from your devices. So the devices can be Linux, your database, your computer, Windows computer, or your server, or your any other log devices. So by collecting those information, we can find the cyber security incidents. So the first one is the agent and forwarder. Agent is nothing but your device. So Linux is an agent, Windows is an agent, database is an agent, server is an agent. Forwarder is nothing but collecting information from those agent is called forwarder. So we are going to discuss about the forwarder in Splunk in the upcoming classes. And then the second log ingestion is nothing but syslog. Syslog is nothing but our system log. So you can see the log information like web server log, database log. So these can be real-time data. System log is nothing but the server log and database log. And then the log can be collected from manual upload. Manual upload for the tools like Splunk, Elk. So we are going to discuss these tools in the upcoming classes. And then port forwarding. Port forwarding is nothing but we are going to transfer our data from one port to another port. So that's the port forwarding. Port forwarding is nothing but we need to have port for accessing the tools or services. So that's it. So these are all the concepts involved in log ingestion. Log ingestion is nothing but collecting logs from our devices. Welcome everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about SEM capabilities. So what are all the advantages when you learn SEM for security engineering and then SOC analyst? So SEM is very useful for SOC. So SEM is nothing but monitoring your traffic by monitoring the logs in your computer. So that's the capability of SIM in the Security Operations Center. And then you can see some of the common capabilities of SIM are, one is nothing but correlation between events from different log sources. So if you collect a log, you can find the relationship between two logs. That's the concept of correlation. By comparing two logs are nothing but correlation. And then second one is nothing but provide visibility on both host-centric and then network-centric activities. So if you collect the logs, you can find whether it is network-based or host-based. So if hacker hacks your network, then it is network-based. If the hacker hacks your computer, then it is host-based. So from the SIM, you can identify that. And then you can see the third important capability, that is allowing the analyst to investigate the latest threats and timely response. By using the SIM, you can find the latest threats in the world. From the information of the threat, the analyst can defend their network. So nowadays, there are many new cyber attacks are created. So you need to know about what are all the new cyber attacks are created from day-to-day life. By gathering that information, we can protect our data of our organization. So that's it guys, we are discussed about the capabilities of SIM. So SIM is very useful for Security Operations Center. SIM is nothing but monitoring the system. Hello everyone, in today's class we are going to discuss about how to install Splunk Enterprise, and also we are going to discuss about how to install Splunk Universal Forwarder. So Splunk is a SIM tool. So SIM stands for Security Information and Event Management. By using the Splunk, we can analyze the logs generated in the devices. Before installing the Splunk, you need to create an account in the Splunk. After that, you can download the Splunk Enterprise and then Splunk Universal Forwarder from the Splunk website. So first we are going to install the Splunk Enterprise. For that, you have to open the Splunk Enterprise. So you have to wait for the installation. So you have to type next, and then you have to select your folder for installing the Splunk. I'm going to select my folder. So after that, you need to select local system, and then you have to select the username, password for your Splunk. You can type your own username and password. So and then you have to select install. So you have to wait for the installation process. So after the installation is completed, you can see the Splunk Enterprise is opened in the browser. And then you have to type your username and password created in the Splunk. So I'm going to type my username and password, and then I'm going to select sign in. So you can see the GUI for the Splunk. So this is the Splunk Enterprise. So in the administration, you can see the account settings, preferences, and then logout option. In the messages, you can see the warnings for your Splunk Enterprise. And then in the settings, you can see the options like knowledge, data, system, and user and authentication. If you want to add any data, you can use the settings options. And then in the knowledge section, you can see the searches, reports, alerts, and then data models, event types, tags, fields, lookups, user interface, alert actions, advanced search, and all configuration. So in the settings, you can see the options like server settings, server controls, health report manager, instrumentation license. In the data, you can see the inputs for the data, and then forward and receiving the data, index. For you have to create an index for your Splunk, and then you can see the options of report acceleration summaries. In the distributor environment, you can see the options like indexer, clustering, and then forwarder management. We are going to discuss that by using the universal forwarder. At last, you can see the user and authentication. In the users like roles, users, tokens, password management. If you want to change the password, you can use that. In the activity, you can see the jobs and alerts. In the help, you can see the manual for the Splunk. So if you want to read the manual, you can use that option. And then if you want to find any services, you can use that options. In the home page settings, you can see the domain name and then domain value. You can type your own domain and values. So these are all the navigation options. So we have successfully installed the Splunk Enterprise in the Windows. Then we are going to install the Splunk Universal Forwarder. So Universal Forwarder is very important for collecting your logs from your devices. So that's the use of Universal Forwarder. So before installing the Universal Forwarder, you need to set receiving port for the Splunk. For that, you have to select settings. In that, you have to select forward and receiving. So in that, you have to configure the receive data port. For that, you have to select add new option or configure receiving. So you can select any one of the option. So after that, you have to type new receiving port. So in the receiving port, you have to type 9997. So that's the default port for the receiving data in the Splunk. So after typing the port, you have to select save. So you can see the status enabled. So we have successfully configured the receiving data. Then we can install the Splunk forwarder. So you have to accept the license, and then you have to select customize option if you want to change the folder for your Splunk forwarder. So after selecting your folder, you have to select next. After that, you have to select next. In that, you have to select local system, and then you have to select next. So you have to select the logs for your Splunk. So I'm going to select Windows event logs. So in that, I'm going to select application log, security log, system log, forwarded event logs, and then setup logs. If you want to select everything, you can select that. So I'm going to select only the Windows event logs. You can type your own username and password for your Splunk forwarder. So you have to remember the username and then password. And then you have to type the host name or IP. So the IP is nothing but our local host. So you have to type the local host for your Splunk forwarder. So you need to type the local host, that is 127.0.0.1. And then you have to type the default port, that is 8089. Again, you have to type the default localhost IP, that is 127.0.0.1. And also you need to remember that if you install the Splunk Enterprise in the Linux OS, then you have to type the IP address of the Linux OS IP in the universal forwarder. In today's class, I installed both universal forwarder and then enterprise in the same system. That's why I type localhost IP. So after installing the forwarder management, you need to open the Splunk. In that you have to select the settings and then you have to select forwarder management. So you have to wait for 5 minutes for loading your universal forwarder. Before that, you can see the options like there is no forwarder available. So you have to wait for 5 minutes. So after the 5 minutes, you can see the forwarder available in my Splunk Enterprise. So you can see the forwarder name, that is my Windows name. And also you can see the IP address. So you can see the host name and then client name and then instance name and then IP address and then actions. If you want to delete the forwarder management, you can use that. So we have successfully installed the forwarder management. So after that, we are going to discuss about how to collect the logs for our Splunk. For collecting the logs, you need to select Add Data option in the Splunk Enterprise. So after that, you need to select forward option, that is universal forwarder, that is Splunk forwarder. And then you have to select the forwarder for your Splunk. So I am going to select the forwarder and then I am going to type the class name. So you can type your own class name. So after typing the name, you can select next. So and then you can see the local event logs. In that you can see the Windows logs available. You can see the application log, forwarded events, security log, system log and setup log. So you have to add all the logs for your Splunk. So if you want to upload any manual files, you can select the second option, that is files and directories. If you have any manual logs, you can use the second option. And also you can see the other options for uploading the logs. I'm going to select next option. And then you have to create a new index for your logs. So you can type your own index name and then you have to select save. So before that, you need to select your size of the logs. I'm going to select 500 MB. So for the basic, I'm going to select 500 MB. So you can create your own file data and then you have to select review. So these are all the configuration we have set for the Splunk. So first class name and then forwarder and then collection name and then input type, that is the event logs, and then you can see the application log, forwarded event, security, setup and system. So you have to select submit. So that's it, we have successfully created the logs for our Splunk. And then you have to select start searching. After that, you can see the GUI for the searching. So you can type your index name, that is we have created in the previous section, that is basic. So basic is our index. And then you can type your time range. You can type your own time range, whether it can be real time or relative or date range or date and time range or all time. I'm going to select all time. So after that, you need to select any one of the mode. I'm going to select verbose mode. Verbose mode contains all the information about the logs. After that, you need to select search. So after that, you can see all the logs will be present in the Splunk. So you can see the information about the logs. So you can see the information like event type, computer name, and then source name, and then type of the information, and then record name, keywords, task category, information about the code, and then message credential management details. And also you can see the subject of the details. So you can see the subject, security ID, account name, account domain, account logon ID, and then read operations. So these are all the important details present in our security logs. So by using the Splunk, we can monitor our Windows event logs. By using the Splunk, we can find the hacker's methodology. Whatever the methodology uses by the hacker will be present in the Splunk. And then you can also see the fields available in the Splunk. By using the fields, we can find the host name, and then source name, and then source type. You can see the host name of our computer, and then you can see the percentage for the user account. So after that, you can see the source is nothing but our logs. So Windows event security log, and then application log. So that's the source, and then you can see the source name. So the source name is nothing but Windows Security Auditing. So that's it guys. In today's class we have discussed about how to install Splunk Universal Forwarder, and also we have discussed about how to install Splunk Enterprise. So VirusTotal is very useful for static analysis of malware. So the first option is the file. If you want to verify the file is malware or not, you can use that option. And then second one is the URL. If you want to check any website is malware or not, you can use that option. And then search. If you want to search for any malwares, you can use search option. For example, I'm going to use the file option. So in that I'm going to select my CSV file. So it will check for the malware in the files. So you can see there is no malware present in my CSV file. For example, for malware, I'm going to use abuse.ch website. In that I'm going to use malware database. So I'm going to copy any one of the malware hash files. By using the hash value, we can find whether the file is malware or not. So I'm going to copy paste the hash value in the VirusTotal, and then I'm going to select search. And then you can see 30% malware detected in the hash file. So you can see the malware detections in other websites. And also you can see the details, relations, behavior and community. In the details you can see the file name, hash name, and then first seen, first submission, last submission. So these are all the details present in the malware. And also you can see the exe file name, and then signature of the files, file informations. So for security engineers, VirusTotal is very important tool for static malware analysis. So thank you everyone. So we have just completed the complete details of security engineering. So hope you learned something from this course. So if you learned something from this course, please put positive review in the comment section. Hope I can see you in the upcoming courses taught by me.